Former magistrate back engaged in a Barbados cabinet. That's our top story in our Barbados Today morning news update for Wednesday, April the 25th. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. Top in the news, as pressure mounts on Barbados to repeal its buggery laws and to legalize same-sex marriages, a former magistrate and UNICEF child rights advocate is openly declaring her support for having members of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community to be able to openly serve in the cabinet of Barbados, while insisting that people who desire to make a contribution to the development of Barbados ought to be afforded that opportunity on merit and not be excluded because of their sexual persuasion, color, or social status. Faith Marshall-Harris argues strongly in an interview with Barbados Today yesterday morning that one's sexual preference should not be the defining qualification for entering elective politics or for being able to serve at the executive level in government.
Dare I say, we don't know, but it may be that we have had persons of different orientations in cabinets before. And that is, to me, that is not the basis on which they're there. That is not the guiding factor. The guiding factor are their particular abilities and qualities that we need to call on.
Meanwhile, in the wake of two recent murders resulting from domestic violence, Marshall-Harris has warned that a violent thread is running through Barbadian society as a whole.
I believe that the current spate of youth violence and school violence actually stems from domestic violence in this country. And I'm saying domestic violence in its widest terms because unfortunately too many of us see domestic violence in purely physical terms, which is to me sometimes the extreme of it. A lot of our domestic violence, which we don't pay enough attention to, is actually in the form of emotional abuse in terms of the way we interact so violently with each other in the home, the way we speak to each other, the way how parents speak to children, husbands speak to wife, mother speaks to father, siblings. We've had no instances where siblings have been party to domestic violence because the tension and the level of hostility is such that it's a violent and dysfunctional interaction in many homes.
In related news, two St. James young men are expected to appear in the Whole Town Magistrates Court today, charged with a total of 10 drug, arms, and ammunition-related offenses. They are 26-year-olds Condeen Jones of Endeavour No. 3 and 32-year-old Juan Clement of Jackman's Road, Endeavour. Police said the Major Crime Unit executed search warrants at the homes of Jones and Clement over the weekend and allegedly found 2 AK-47 assault rifles, 1 automatic assault rifle, a shotgun, 8 magazines, 70 rounds of ammunition, 33 cannabis plants and cannabis stalks, and 37 grams of the drug.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Welcome back with news from the region now. Guyana's Attorney General Basil Williams has slammed the former PPP government for bringing criminal charges against two sitting cabinet ministers. Williams thinks the charges are an abuse of the court process. More in this HGP-TV news report.
1 week after charges were recommended for two high-ranking officials of the former PPP administration, Dr. Ashley Singh and Mr. Winston Brassington, the PPP fired back with charges against two sitting government ministers for misconduct in public office. The charges were denounced by several high-ranking officials in the government, including State Minister Joseph Harmon, and was further flagged by Attorney General Basil Williams, who called a media briefing to address the issue on Saturday.
It is an aberration to the rule of law, an insult to good governance, and an abuse of the process of the court to allow such unsubstantiated recourse to our justice system based solely on malice, whim, and caprice.
Parties from both sides were charged for misconduct in public office, but according to AG, there are no comparisons between the cases.
And on the international scene, owners of flats or apartments in the Spanish city of Palma will no longer be able to rent their homes to tourists from July. The details in this Euronews story.
The Balearic capital is the first Spanish city to introduce the restriction in an attempt to tackle mass tourism and overcrowded areas. It's after complaints from residents about rising rents due to short holiday lets on websites and apps. After investigating, local authorities found between 2015 and 2017 that considerably more unlicensed tourist apartments were rented compared to those with the correct licensing. Palma's Mayor Anthony Nogueira says houses will be exempt from the ban as long as they're in protected areas.
And that's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic day.